When it comes to mafia-related films, there's no question that most of the films are based off real events and real people. From Goodfellas, that was based off the infamous rat in Henry Hill, to Casino, that depicted the life of professional gambler turned mafioso Frank Rosenthal, to the frightening and real-life scenario of Donnie Brasco, an FBI agent by the name of Joseph D. Pistone, who infiltrated his way into the Colombo crime family. But when it comes to television, there's of course the mafia television show The Sopranos, that showcased a more personal and realistic portrayal of the flashy yet dreadful mafia life. The Sopranos may be a fictional mafia family with some real-life aspects incorporated into the series that happened to the series' creator, David Chase, specifically with the character of Livia Soprano, as it's been well documented that the character of Livia Soprano is based off David Chase's mother. However, the Sopranos mafia family had a real-life mafia family called the DeCavalcanti family. This is a breakdown of the real-life version of the Sopranos in the DeCavalcanti family, as in this video, I'll discuss the similarities of both the DeCavalcantis and the Sopranos. Before we get started, if you're new here, be sure to click subscribe and click the bell to get notifications on all upcoming Sopranos content. Also, be sure to follow me on Instagram and X. All links will be linked in the description below. While there have been many fans and critics that state The Sopranos is based off the DeCavalcanti family, the series' creator David Chase has strictly denied these allegations, despite there being wiretaps that have real-life mafia members of the DeCavalcanti crime family talking about the popular television series and comparing characters in the show to themselves. Still, David Chase denied these allegations despite the shocking similarities that have happened to both families, and despite both families residing in New Jersey. To begin, the DeCavalcanti family got their start in the early 1900s thanks to Prohibition. The family resides in North New Jersey, specifically in Newark and its surrounding areas, which so too do the Sopranos. The DeCavalcantis are the smallest and oldest mafia family in the United States. And in the beginning of The Sopranos, when Uncle Junior is arrested, we learn that there are other families around the Newark area. One of them is the supposed Mangano family, and coincidentally in real life, the DeCavalcantis work closely with the Mangano family as well. The origin of the DeCavalcanti crime family began at the hands of Simone DeCavalcanti, who was also known as Sam the Plumber. After bouncing in and out of jail and ultimately deciding to semi-retire in Florida, DeCavalcanti appointed Giovanni Ricci to take over as acting boss. However, his tenure as boss was a short one, albeit being convicted of racketeering. To take over the reins was John D'Amato as acting boss of the family in 1990. However, shockingly, like in The Sopranos, D'Amato was alleged to be a homosexual and was later murdered a few years later, just like what we saw with the character of Vito Spatafora in The Sopranos once his sexuality too was revealed. However, the difference here was that Vito was a captain and not an acting boss of a family. And when we think back to Tony and the gang discovering Vito's deep secret, Tony makes a remark saying that Vito wasn't the first. So it's very possible that Tony here is talking about D'Amato.
But some people feel it's against our principles, though. A sin.
Carlo, let's be honest with ourselves here. We all know Vito's not the first.
And much like The Sopranos, the DeCavalcanti family maintained a close relationship with all of New York's 5 families, especially the Gambino family, who resembles the Lupertazzi family in The Sopranos. Similarly, both families were viewed as a lesser intimidating family when it came to New York. As in The Sopranos, the Soprano crime family is viewed as an infamous glorified crew by New York.
Family, I told you, they're a glorified crew.
Much like The Sopranos and all mafia families, the DeCavalcantis specialized in similar activities to what we see in the series, with activities like bookmaking, hijacking, drug trafficking, extortion, illegal gambling, money laundering, murder, and much like The Sopranos, specifically specializing in construction and waste management. To go along with this, they also were involved in stock market fraud and insurance fraud, something that we saw The Sopranos dip their feet in as well with pushing Lobistics. Also, the DeCavalcanti family is rumored to have once owned 90% of all adult video stores in New York City, once again making a connection to The Sopranos, with Carmine Lupertazzi Jr. being a film producer in the adult film industry. Much like all mafia families that try and steer away from the FBI and having a downfall, the DeCavalcantis and The Sopranos are no different, as over time in The Sopranos, we saw various members be infiltrated by the government, from Big Pussy, Jimmy Altieri, Raymond Curto, Adriana Lacerva, Eugene Pontecorvo, and even Carlo Gervasi, as the same thing happened to the DeCavalcantis, with Ralph Guarino, Anthony Rotundo, and Anthony Capo all became government informants as well, marking the decline of the DeCavalcantis with an indictment that saw nearly all the family's members get arrested in 2015. As with this, we saw countless of made members turn on each other, and also just like in The Sopranos, by the series' final episode, we saw just how much the family had declined. And the same thing applied for the DeCavalcantis, as most of its members had either passed away or went to jail for life. It's interesting to note that in the 1990s, the DeCavalcanti family had a great sense of worship and appreciation to the Gambino family, and specifically its current boss at the time in John Gotti, as Gotti would provide the family with advice and support the family during any conflicts or sit-downs, as Gotti once viewed the DeCavalcantis as their farm team. Surprisingly, this is very much like the character of John Sacramone, who also backed Tony and his family throughout their relationship. And throughout the DeCavalcanti family, there are plenty of other Soprano prototypes, such as Giacomo Amari, who resembles the character of Jackie Aprile Sr., who both happened to die of stomach cancer while they were acting boss of the family. After the death of Amari is where we would be introduced to the Tony Soprano of the DeCavalcanti crime family, as this would be none other than Vincent Palermo, also known as Vinny Ocean, who would claim to be the real-life version of Tony Soprano. The resemblances of Soprano to Palermo are so similar that it's shocking. For starters, at the time of both mobsters' rise to fame, Tony Soprano and Vincent Palermo are both captains of their respected crews. Tony Soprano owned a strip club called the Bada Bing. Vincent Palermo also owned a strip club called Wiggles in Queens. Both lived in mini mansions, both had 2 children, a wife, and girlfriends on the side. Both mobsters owned a pork store, with the real-life version of the DeCavalcanti's hangout spot being just down the road from the theatrical-built Satrials, and both would eventually take over the family without officially becoming boss by serving as the street boss for the family. Also, both would essentially marry into the mafia, with Carmela having ties to the legendary Dickie Moltisanti, and Palermo marrying one of the 5 daughters of Sam DeCavalcanti, the originator of the family. Today, the DeCavalcantis have morphed into the Gambino family, but still operate on their own terms. Their success and family tree isn't nearly what it once was, very much like The Sopranos, as by the series' final episode, we only see Paulie and Tony sitting outside Satrials. What are your thoughts about the DeCavalcanti crime family and its similarities to The Sopranos? Be sure to let me know down in the comment section below. Did you enjoy this video? If you did, be sure to click like. For more Sopranos content, keep it locked here, right here on this channel.